Does a video game being too hard really equal that it is a bad game? I just don't think so. After Sekiro Shadows Die Twice released, people started to play the game. Everyone started really voicing their opinions on the game, and there were some people that felt that the game was not easy enough. And there was an article written by David Thayer over at Forbes, and he said that when a game is too difficult, it is disrespectful to players to not have more accessibility options. And it opened up the discussion of, should video games have easier difficulties? Now let's look at something like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, since this is the game that people are basing this discussion on. It is a From Software game. They are notorious for their more difficult games. Dark Souls, Bloodborne, now Sekiro. Now, I don't know if you all know this, but From Software pulls a lot of inspiration from H.P. Lovecraft. They did heavily with Bloodborne, and I know that they take and put that inspiration into all of their titles. They love the style of his horror, but obviously it is very, very hard to convey with gameplay and mechanics, but they have tried to do their best to convey their direction in their projects and their creations. And they've said in the past that they want their titles to mirror that in a way. The horror and the frustration that you would feel if you were in one of his creations. And that if you were a mortal fighting these godly creatures that are unimaginable to most mortals, you know, they want you to imagine that journey and imagine that difficulty. And as someone that is an avid lover of H.P. Lovecraft, every time that I pick up a From Software game, I really feel that way. And I've never really played a game that gives me that same sentiment because they do it so well, and I just feel like no one has mirrored the exact things that From Software has done before, and they do it so well that no one has been able to mirror, and that I'm not sure if anyone will be able to mirror in the near future. Their games are not just difficult because they want you to be frustrated and they want you to feel defeated, but without the story of the game, the gameplay itself tells a story. It's like learning a new craft. After a long time, you'll have to master it. You'll learn how to master it, but it will not be easy to do. Now, the topic of should video games have easier difficulties is very vague in this case. Difficulty is different to everyone. Someone might find action key combos more difficult to play rather than tab target games. Someone might find platformers more difficult than first-person survival shooters. And when it comes to the Souls games, if you take away that difficulty, then what is really left to the game? And that is why I really wanted to talk about that for a moment. Challenge is part of the game, and I understand that games like these can get frustrating. I have gotten frustrated with them myself. But you do not have to play the game if it is not an experience that you really want to spend your time on, and I feel like that is something that a lot of people are just not straight out saying or blatantly saying. The people that say these games in general should have an easier difficulty, where you practically walk through the combat and are immersed in the story, that is not Sekiro. These are not very linear games, in a sense. You are obviously in the wrong group of titles, because games with stories like these with less combat do exist. You obviously aren't looking in the right place, though. Look at something like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That title is 70% story, and it is very light on the combat. Most of the time you are in cutscenes or you're running around looking for items to progress the story. And the combat in a lot of ways is very, very similar to these From Software titles. There are games that are easier in a sense, that accommodate the type of player that you are, you just have to look for them. You need to stop asking, does Sekiro need an easy mode, or do you need an easy mode? These games require time to learn, time to become skilled, and if you're saying that it is too hard, it is probably because you're not putting the time and the dedication to learn how to play it properly into the experience that you are trying to have with it. What is the point to rush through a game and not learn how to play it properly? Why not just watch someone else play it if you do not actually want to experience the gameplay and the difficulty of it? If you want to sheerly just watch it be played or watch the cutscenes, there are ways to do that that do accommodate you. I just feel like in this case, a lot of people are saying it's too difficult because they don't want to put the time into it. Games like this require a lot of time and a lot of effort to learn. And going back to what David Thayer said at Forbes, you know, he just sounds like he just wanted to run through it and he didn't want to put the time and effort into it, and that's really the type of person that I'm talking to. If you want to play a game like this, but you do not like the game, there are games similar. You don't have to feel like you have to jump on the bandwagon because this is the newest, best game, everyone loves it, I'm going to love it, and then realize, oh, this isn't the game for me. There are plenty of games out there. You don't have to jump on the bandwagon of playing every new release if you don't actually like the game. There's no point to that. I know a lot of people do that because they want to have that new experience of a new game, but just give it time, really watch gameplay, see if you actually like it, and it could save you some money if you don't actually like it. Just stop rushing into games, stop rushing into purchases, and put the time and dedication into playing a game before you say that it's too hard and that it needs an easy mode. Some games are not meant to have an easy mode. That is why games like this don't have that. But that is all that I had to talk about today, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like, and of course, if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either which way. Please consider becoming a supporter of the channel and becoming a Dark Titan with the links in the description. But I hope that you enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys again really soon.